But anyway, I kind of saw this clip on TikTok. I've actually not watched it yet, but we're gonna be reacting to this guy who got divorced at 22 years old. At first, I kind of think it was too young to have gotten married at 22. But who knows? If you feel like you're ready, it's a personal decision, of course. If you feel like you're good enough to be a husband, do your thing. But so let's just not waste time and just watch it before I say everything I wanted to say about Christmas and all that. But let's enjoy this brother and see what he has to say.
Okay, ladies and gentle people, this is how I became divorced at 22 years old. This is going to be very simplified. I would rather undershare than overshare. I have reached out to members, friends and family members, both myself and my ex-wife, to find the best way to do this. And we all pretty much came to the same conclusion of do not share more than is needed. But if at some point I feel the need to elaborate, I might do that. There might be longer versions of this with breakdowns and parts, but let's get into it. Okay, so I got married May 17th of this year. And shortly before that, my wife, or ex-wife, started a new job. And that's important to know. So we end up moving into our apartment together in mid-July. I believe it was July 16th. Between the when we got married and that time, we were living with my parents. So we move in about 2 weeks after that. My wife has just a breakdown, comes in my office, has a breakdown about, I feel like we might have rushed into this. We did things too soon, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't like we need to split. It was just, I'm freaking out. It's like, okay, let's talk through it. And about a week later, she apologizes, says, hey, I think I was just having kind of a mental breakdown. I'm like, hey, that's fine. I get it. It's scary times. I had a freak out. I think it was like the third night that we were staying in the apartment, just about missing my family. So some time goes on, and now we're in August, and there's another freak out. And I feel like we rushed into this, blah, blah, blah. Well, we meet with our premarital counselor. Well, our counselors, I guess, but they did our premarital counseling. We talked through it. They're like, hey, this is super common. We see this in young married couples all the time. Let's, set some expectations for one another just so you guys can help each other out. And we did. And, I think in my head, things are going great. Okay, so Monday, September 15th rolls around, and I leave work a little early. She tells me that she wants me to come home so we can talk. And so we go home, or I go home, and I get there, and she's like, hey, I'm not ready to talk just yet. Go play the game. So I'm like, okay, I play the game for an hour. Go back in. Hey, I'm not ready to talk just yet. Go play the game. Okay, go back in for now. Whatever. So basically, she tells me, hey, I don't know. I don't want to talk about this. I think that it's just not worth talking about. And me being an anxious person, I'm like, well, is it something small, or is it something like you want to move out? And she's just kind of like, I don't really know. I don't know. I feel like, there's just so many things.
This is very funny because it's all happening 2 months after they just got married. I feel like it's too fast for things like that to be happening. If there were no problems before, prior to the time they got married, it's almost screaming like they had problems before they got married. But we'll see.
And so quick, and I don't know. Well, either way, we talked through things a little bit. I think she can tell that I'm upset. She could tell that I was upset, so she just kind of dialed back. Maybe, I don't know where her mind space is or head space is in any of this. Well, the following Saturday rolls around. Everything's all hunky-dory for me. I go out with my buddy. We put out some bags of corn and stuff. And then I get home. She's like, hey, when are you going to be home? I tell her, and she's like, okay, great. I'm going to take a shower, and I'll see you when you get home. Well, I get home. She got her bags packed. Hey, I'm going to stay with my mom. I need some space away. I might be back Wednesday. I don't know. Can we talk? Nope. Gone. Out the door. Gone. Poof. Gone. No contact that Sunday, that Monday. Then Tuesday night, I finally call her. Now, mind you, in between this, I'm over at my best friend's house. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out. And I say no contact. There were a couple texts sent. Well, she also goes over there and is with him and his girlfriend and just talking to them. And it's, they're trying to figure out what's going on. And they're asking her the questions. Hey, is there anything going on? It might be causing this. Is there anything, She's like, no, nothing. Well, so Tuesday night I call her. And this is now, let me get the date, Yeah, so Tuesday, the 23rd of September, I call her, and things seem well. And I'm like, hey, do you want to go out tomorrow? She's like, yeah. So her and I go out. We have a great dinner, and she tells me, like, look, I've decided I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to run away. Like, we're going to work on this together. I can't leave you. I don't want to leave you. I'm not going to leave you. Awesome. But you need to do this and this and this and this and this. And mind you, everything's been fairly normal for me up to this point, up until her leaving. So thing number one was therapy. So I put myself in therapy. I get couples therapy for the two of us. I'm paying out the butt for it, but whatever. This is necessary. Whatever means. She's like, I'm not ready to move back in yet, but we'll see. So we have our first therapy session that following Sunday, and just to kind of collapse all this down, eventually after like a week or so, she moves back in. Things are going great. I'm cooking dinner every single night, right? She did almost nothing around the apartment, and I would complain about that because it's like, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. Cooking, cleaning, everything, laundry, everything. I'm doing everything, right? I like made up her closet for her and stuff and whatever. I'm just like, I'm trying to show her whatever it is that you need, I'm going to do. And I just start working on myself and start trying to be, the best husband that I could possibly be. And it's stuff that I should have been doing beforehand, but it's like, this is my first time. I'm a kid. Well, 3 weeks go by. Let me go back to my text to figure out the date. So mind you, during this time too, she's like trying to get me to buy her a new car.
So far, it feels like in between the both of them, in between the two of them, he's the only one making effort to probably save the relationship. For now, I still don't know the kind of problem they have, but like from what I've seen so far, it just feels like it's a one-sided effort thing. It feels like he's the one trying to improve. He's the one trying to please her, and she's not trying to please him. So I don't know. I don't know what this is driving at, but like he's already looking one-sided to me. He's looking like a one-sided effort in fluctuation or like infused. But let's see.
And like a gaming PC, and we're coming to all the. I mean, it's amazing. It seemed like the most perfect marriage. Well, Sunday, October 12th rolls around, and things have been going great. We have our therapy session, and the therapist is like, guys, I think we made a breakthrough, and we're laughing, giggling, whatever. Well, therapy session ends. She looks at me, hey, I'm dropping out of nursing school. When did you make that decision? She's like, last week. It's like, okay, all right. I support you. That's a big decision. That gives us more time to spend together. I guess work through these things. Breakdown, anxiety, full on, just freaking out. My jump to is, hey, let's pray. She doesn't want to. She goes, jumps in the shower. She's free. I can't do this. I thought I could, whatever. And I'm like, hey, let's get in the car, because car rides always calmed her down. Let's get in the car and ride around. In the car, I've been lying to you. I've been doing X, Y. And I go, have you been cheating? And she looks at me, yeah. With who? It's her boss. So yeah, so she says that. And
First of all, that's a lot to unpack. But the fact that she made a decision to stay over at an aunt's place or something like that without talking to him first already is already very inconsiderate. Like how can you not talk to somebody that you regard or somebody that is your husband that you've been in a relationship before you even got married? But like you just make a sole decision like that to stay at someone's place and just say, I'm gonna stay there. This is very inconsiderate of her. I don't want to judge her yet. I want to hear the end of the story before we can, but like it's already getting saucy from this point. But let's go.
I've always been a very emotional person, but in that moment, I couldn't cry. I couldn't get angry. All I could do was drive. And in my head, I'm just praying while listening and trying to talk. And basically, she says, I find out over time that she had started emotionally cheating, which let's just call it what it is. She started cheating 2 weeks after we moved into our apartment. So mind you, this is 2 months after we get married. And that, if we do the timeline here, that's when the first freak out happened, when she came into my office. And then apparently it was just that. And then towards the time of the second freak out, before she moved out, was when they had started making plans to be physical. And then during the time between that freak out and her moving out is when they actually did have a level of physical relation. And then, mind you, this all comes out the day before I'm supposed to hop on a flight for a promotion that I just received. And she tells me that this has been going on, that it's most likely going to continue going on. And not crying about it, not upset about it. Actually, I'll just tell you guys, laughing at my crying, because eventually I do start crying, of course. She's like, look, let's go back to the apartment. Chill out there. And I'm like, okay. We get back to the apartment. She's like, look, I need to call him. Mind you, I'm falling apart. Look, I need to call him. I need to make sure he's okay. So she leaves for 2 hours while it's like 12 o'clock at night. I can't sleep. I can't do anything, right? I have a flight to catch the next morning. I can't do anything. I'm falling apart. Finally, she comes home. She's like, look, I don't want to talk about this. Let's just lay down. So I get like 2 hours of sleep, wake up, get on a flight, and absolutely bomb. Do terrible, right? Because how could you do well? And during this week, while I'm gone, all I'm thinking of is, okay, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix this? I don't know how I'm going to fix it. How do you forgive? Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. And wow, God is good, because though I didn't fix it, he kept me functioning better than I would have without him. And so then I get back. She ends up actually picking me up from the airport that Thursday night. We hang out, or she drives me back to the apartment, goes and stays at her mom's. Friday morning, wake up, we go on a date. It's great. We're having a good time. It's a little weird, but we're having a good time. Well, eventually, we go back to the apartment. She falls asleep. I go through her phone, and it is her and him dogging on me, talking about how she's going to stay on my good side so she can get things from me, and all sorts of terrible stuff. And so I'm like, hey, wake up. Let's go. And she's like, oh, my God.
Oh no 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 no! She's a very terrible person. You're not only seeing somebody, you're trying to get things from him. He's only 22, for God's sake. What has he achieved that you want to collect from him? You want to siphon him? You want to exploit him? She's a very very terrible person. I don't like to point fingers at people, and say you're worse. No, but in this situation, she's done a very very terrible thing at or to this guy, and the way she has handled everything, he's almost looking as he's playing the victim game. Like she's the one that has been wrong, but he's the one that has been wrong. He's been the bigger person. He's been a good guy. Apparently he looks like a very good person. He's a Christian as well, a genuine Christian for that matter. So it's clearly seen from the way he's talking, and you can tell he's a very good person. But she's the opposite of who he is. She's not even making any effort at all. But he's doing everything possible to save the marriage, and then she's doing everything possible to destroy it.
Did you go through my phone? I'm like, yeah, I did. And then
No, that can be.
part 2. I didn't think it was going to be this long. So she goes and starts freaking out, and she's like, take me home. I'm like, okay, cool. Now we are driving home, and she's telling me, I really thought there was a chance. I really thought that you would change, but you going through my phone just shows me you're the same person. I just took you on a date, spent a bunch of money, had what I thought was a great day, and the whole time you're sneaking off to the bathroom to text your boyfriend about how you have to stay on my good side, hoping that he's not upset with you for it. So then I turn on her Snap Maps because I'm crazy. I turn on her Snap Maps, and sure enough, that night she ends up at his house. Saturday morning, wake up, go home, pack up all of her stuff nicely, not throwing stuff, right? I just put whatever clothes and stuff into bags and put the other stuff in whatever. Load it in the back of the truck, text her, hey, what time do you get off work? Or what time are you going to be at your mom? She tells me, okay, I pull up, got all of her stuff in the truck, and she's like, can we go get food? I'm like, you know what? Let me see how much information I can fish out of here. So she knows at this point, she's found out that her Snap Mouse is on. So I'm like, where were you last night? She's like, a friend called me. I was upset at you, and so, they called me and I went over. I was like, was it his house? She's like, yeah. I'm like, did you sleep with him? Yeah. Gotcha. So then, full transparency, we're riding around, and she's just like, let's just drive. Let's just go somewhere. Let's just wake up and see the sunset somewhere. And I'm not going to overshare, but I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. And I'm not even going to listen, what your mind is thinking, that happens. What a moron. What a buffoon, right? So either way, I end up spending the night. And then Sunday, I wake up and I go to church because I'm like, God, I need you so, which I go to church anyways, right? But I'm like, God. And so I go to church and I walk in early and I sit there and I just cry in a pew. And then I get out of church and to a text from her, hey, she texted me somewhere along the lines of, or I can't remember if it was text or call, but she's like, hey, like, come back over, and I don't like how you left. I'm like, okay. So I went over and I get over there and she just wants to lay down. We lay down. And, what an idiot. Either way, so she's like, hey, I gotta go to my friend's house. So you gotta go. This is several hours later. Well, she goes to her friend's house, and then she goes back to his house. In the same day! Oh, gosh! So yeah. So I'm like, hey, I schedule us tests, because I just, sorry. So I schedule us test. Thank God, everything's fine. Everything's clean. Everything's clear. Thank God. Well, then the next, 2 or so weeks go by, and she's talking about, hey, I'm moving, I'm going to do all these things, and, I want us to be friends, I want us to stay in contact with each other. And I'm still in the mindset of, I'm going to make this work. Well, along the way, I end up finding out a lot more. And I didn't believe it at first until I start receiving proof. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of hits. And mind you, we hang out 1 or 2 times after that. And so eventually she says hey, I'm moving and stuff and whatever. And I'm like, okay. And so in my mind, I'm not signing the papers. I'm not signing the papers. You're crazy. Sorry, I made a covenant vow with God. I don't care if you're stupid and went and did something stupid. No, we're going to figure this out. Eventually you take so many hits that you start to realize maybe God's giving you the pass. Maybe God's letting me get out of this. And that's exactly what happened. She continuously chose other people throughout these 2 weeks or so. I don't know what happened with him because they broke up. And then there was 2 or 3. I don't know. Either way. So eventually it finally clicks in my head. I'm like, oh, you got to shut it off, bro. Straight Vampire Diaries. Just turn it off. So I did. So I guess it's 2 weeks later, she texts or she calls me and she's like, hey, when are we seeing each other? And I'm like, for what? She's like, I guess just to sign the papers. I said, you don't need me for that. You can get your stuff signed and then have me served or whatever. I'll sign mine and be done. Mind you, this is radically different than the last thing she heard from me, which is I'm not signing anything. So then I get a text Monday, hey, do you want to see me before I leave? I'll respond. Wednesday we meet to sign papers. I'm not going to explain how that ended up happening. I didn't know she was going to be there. By the way, papers get signed and give, whatever. And she's like, can I get a hug? I was like, look, I don't. And she's like, please. So, okay, give her a hug. And then, yeah. There's so much that's not in this because, and if somehow any party that's not, I don't want to say on my side, but on my side with this, I am doing the opposite of dogging. There's so much more. And if there's any accusation of, oh, he's lying, I hate to break it to everyone, but I'm not a buffoon. Alabama's a one-party state, and it was in my own home and vehicle. I've got everything. I have everything right here. So the legitimacy behind what I've said, right here. I undershared a lot because I hope, and the last thing that I said to her, I prayed over her, the last thing that we did is we had a conversation. I said, I am not mad. I do not hate you. I hope you have a wonderful life. I hope you find a man someday that you can love the way that you should. I prayed for her, wished her the best, said I can't be in contact with you again. I can never talk to you again. This has to be the end of it. Now it's turned into a thing where she's dogging me to an extent. I don't want to say dogging me, but it's like it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just a little bit of stupid stuff though, and gotta move on. I gotta let go. I'm so separated. But the plan is now that I've said all of this, I can now do what I really wanted to do this whole time, which is make the Christian content, but also make the Christian content that speaks directly through.
I honestly don't know how to react to this because how terrible do you have to be to do something bad to somebody? And this person is almost like she's older than him, and it's almost like she's trying to take advantage of the fact that he's a young 22-year-old husband, quote and unquote, and he's not matured enough to handle situations like this properly, or or the best way it should be handled. But like, I don't want to say he's stupid. He's not stupid. He's a good guy, good kid, trying to fix what has spoiled. He's trying to be the bigger person. He's trying to be selfless enough to hear and not judge. But of course, it is a very debatable opinion where some people will agree, some people will immediately disagree and say, "Don't talk, just end everything." But like he was the first willing to talk, he was willing to fix things. He refused to sign the divorce papers and all of that. But like, I don't think she was taking any step forward or any steps towards the direction of fixing things with him. It can also be because of he's just young, like he can just shared so many things. Feels like the story is not complete, but so far so good. If we have to judge the characters in this story, he's the bigger person. He's the one that doesn't deserve what has happened. And she on the other hand, she's just, I have no words, I have no description for her. But like in a situation like this, you can at least be nice. Asking for the hug in the end is like the consolidation hug and say sorry that I put you through things like this. She ought to be nice at some point, but she was not nice. Felt like she was intentionally trying to hurt this guy, and the boy was just intentionally trying to do the opposite, but like it didn't end well for him. But like, that's about it. So tell me what you guys think, or what would you do in a situation like this? Who do you think is on the right? Who do you think is wrong in this situation? I mean, anybody is entitled to their opinion, but I said mine. Please subscribe if you watch this with me. Subscribe, like, tell me what you think in the comment section. And if you want to see more things like this, please more if you want to see more stories like this, please don't fail to let me know. And there's so many stories like this I can actually react to on live or offline. Just talk about it. Subscribe.